536 CE is often referred to as one of the most mysterious years in human history. Scholars describe it as the worst year to be alive. Skies darkened, temperatures plummeted. Famine and disease swept populations. Yet 1,400 years later, we still cannot fully explain it. The question isn't just environmental anomalies or political turmoil. It's about human perception, collective behavior, and historical signals. How did a single year challenge human cognition, disrupt social systems, and alter civilizations? To understand 536, we must look beyond kings and empires. Consider the brain's response to stress, social networks, and complex systems. Imagine the human brain as a network of interconnected nodes, processing signals and predicting outcomes. Societies are larger versions of these networks, with cities and trade routes influencing each other. In 536, an unprecedented signal volcanic eruptions and atmospheric disturbances entered the global system. This signal was like static in civilization's neural pathways. Crops failed, economies faltered. Governments struggled to respond. Human perception, honed to detect threats, was overwhelmed. The brain's normal pattern recognition was confronted by an anomaly it couldn't interpret. Across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, records report a dimmed sun, persistent haze, and chilling temperatures. These devastated agriculture. But this is only the surface. The deeper mystery lies in how societies as collective cognitive systems adapted to these shocks. Historians traditionally frame events in linear narratives. A king dies, a war begins, a plague spreads. But 536 suggests a different causality, understood through complex systems and neuropsychology. Volcanic eruptions released aerosols into the stratosphere, reflecting sunlight and reducing temperatures. Tree ring data from Ireland, Scandinavia, and China show significantly reduced growth, indicating a global cooling event that lasted for years. The climate anomaly was not uniform. In some regions, it was a slow, creeping cold. In others, sudden and catastrophic. This variability challenged prediction, like unexpected feedback in a neural network. Humans faced an ambiguous and fluctuating threat, leading to heightened stress and disrupted social coordination. An increase in what psychologists call collective anxiety. When survival is threatened, social networks adapt. Trade routes shrink, migration increases, and political alliances fray. Here, in the interplay between environmental stressors and human adaptive networks, 536's true complexity emerges. Historical sources are sparse but revealing. Byzantine historian Procopius writes of a sun that gave forth its light without brightness. Irish annals report a famine so severe that people ate their own children. These accounts reflect the limitations of human perception and the fragility of social systems under stress. Psychologically, humans are prone to hyperbolic thinking under duress. The brain amplifies uncertainty into dread. When multiple nodes of society, farms, markets, governments fail, the collective perception of risk magnifies. Panic, scarcity, and rumor spread faster than the cold itself. In 536, the sun's dimming became a cognitive event, disrupting mental models. Interestingly, 536 was not a year of instantaneous collapse. It was the beginning of protracted uncertainty. Stretching into the late antique Little Ice Age, which lasted until around 550 CE, the initial volcanic event created the signal. Subsequent failures of harvests combined with plague amplified its effects. In this sense, 536 acts as a historical stress test of human civilization. Neuroscientists observe the brain operates optimally within a window of uncertainty. Too little stimulation, adaptation stagnates. Too much, and neural networks misfire. Societies, faced with 536's disruptions, mirrored this cognitive model. Some communities collapsed, abandoned settlements, and failed to maintain authority. In others, adaptive strategies emerged. Trade was rerouted, local governance strengthened. Social cohesion was reinforced in smaller, more resilient units. What appears as historical fragility may actually be an emergent property of resilient adaptation. Philosophically, 536 challenges the human assumption that history is predictable or controllable. The idea of a bad year is a manifestation of our cognitive desire for continuity. When the sun dimmed and harvests failed, signals didn't fit existing mental models. This mismatch provoked cognitive dissonance, generating both anxiety and innovation. Communities experimented with new agricultural practices, diversified diets, and altered trade patterns. Even devastating events can catalyze adaptive intelligence. Consider the Justinian plague in 541 CE. While it killed millions, it also triggered shifts in labor, taxation, and political power. Historical crises, like neural misfires, can be both destructive and instructive, forcing systems, whether biological or societal, to reorganize around new equilibria. The events of 536 reveal the deep interconnectedness of global systems long before the modern age. Volcanic eruptions in Iceland or Central America affected weather patterns in China, the Mediterranean, and the Middle East. Signals propagated through networks of trade, migration, and communication, demonstrating that human civilizations have always existed in a web of dependencies. Modern network theory provides a useful metaphor. Nodes are not isolated. Disturbances in one region propagate, attenuate, or amplify depending on network structure. In 536, the cascading failures were both environmental and informational. Humans received incomplete, delayed, and sometimes contradictory signals. A city might suffer crop failure while a neighboring region fared slightly better. Rumors, misinterpretations, and moral narratives shaped collective perception. Understanding 536 requires embracing this duality. It's not enough to track ash layers or tree rings. We must consider how human cognition, social networks, and environmental signals co-evolve under stress. An equally compelling question: why was the world's response to 536 uneven? Some regions recovered quickly, others languished. This suggests that adaptability is not solely determined by technological capacity or political organization. It is also a function of perception, social connectivity, and the ability to reallocate resources under uncertainty. Neuroscience offers a metaphor here. The brain prioritizes certain signals over others, filtering information to maintain stability. Societies do the same, often unconsciously. When multiple threats converge, cold, famine, disease decision-making becomes a triage process. Communities must choose which signals to respond to and which to suppress. Failure at a local level may paradoxically protect the larger network. Abandoned villages, reduced populations, and temporary economic collapse can relieve stress on surrounding systems, allowing some regions to endure while others falter. Viewed this way, the disasters of 536 are not mere tragedies. They are adaptive recalibrations, the system's attempt to maintain homeostasis under extreme perturbation. Yet the human experience of 536 was profoundly psychological. Chronic stress affects cognition, memory, and decision-making, leading to both creative problem-solving and destructive behavior. Historical records suggest a mixture of these outcomes. Religious movements gained traction, possibly as a coping mechanism for incomprehensible suffering. Political authority was challenged. Daily life became a negotiation with uncertainty. Modern psychology would describe this as a shift in the perceived locus of control. When environmental signals overwhelm individual and collective agency, people seek meaning through narrative, ritual, and community. This underscores a fundamental truth about history. It is experienced subjectively even as it unfolds objectively. The cold, famine, and disease of 536 were real measurable phenomena. But the human perception of these events, filtered through fear, expectation, and imagination, shaped societies as much as any volcanic ash cloud. It is tempting to ask, then, what lessons 536 holds for contemporary society. If we view our civilizations as networks of nodes, each dependent on countless signals, we can recognize parallels in climate disruption, pandemics, and systemic economic shocks. The events of 536 remind us that even a small perturbation, a volcanic eruption, or unexpected environmental change can trigger global consequences. Resilience is not simply the ability to withstand shocks. It is the capacity to perceive, interpret, and adapt to signals in a way that maintains systemic balance. In this sense, 536 is not merely a historical curiosity. It is a mirror reflecting the neural and social architecture of humanity, a case study in how complex systems respond to stress, uncertainty, and ambiguity. Just as neurons rewire in response to sustained input, societies reconfigure under prolonged strain, revealing both vulnerabilities and hidden strengths. One of the most intriguing aspects of 536 is the enduring mystery surrounding the exact causes. Recent research points to multiple volcanic eruptions, possibly one in Iceland and another in Central America, but definitive evidence remains elusive. Ice core data from Greenland and Antarctica provide chemical signatures of sulfate aerosols, confirming atmospheric disturbances. Yet the precise sequence and magnitude of events are difficult to reconstruct. This uncertainty mirrors the cognitive challenge faced by contemporaries. Perhaps the greatest insight of 536 is not its cause, but its effect. Human societies, like neural networks, are not purely reactive. They are adaptive, capable of reorganizing, innovating, and sometimes flourishing under conditions that appear catastrophic. The very fragility that historians lament may have been the mechanism by which civilization endured. As we reflect on 536, we are invited to consider deeper philosophical questions about the nature of history and human experience. What does it mean for a society to survive a crisis whose parameters it cannot fully comprehend? How do perception, cognition, and collective behavior interact to create resilience? If the brain is a system of nodes interpreting signals, and society is a network of nodes processing environmental, social, and political information, then 536 is a striking demonstration of emergent phenomena, outcomes that cannot be predicted by examining individual components alone. It challenges linear thinking, deterministic models, and simple cause-effect narratives. Instead, it encourages a view of history as a dynamic interplay of signals, feedback loops, and adaptive intelligence. Perhaps the most profound twist is that moments of apparent weakness or failure may, paradoxically, protect the larger system. In the neural analogy, inhibitory processes prevent overexcitation, damage, or collapse. In 536, local crop failures, famine, and population decline may have mitigated broader systemic collapse, allowing human networks to absorb shocks and reconfigure for long-term survival. History is full of such counterintuitive dynamics, where what appears catastrophic in the short term serves a stabilizing function in the long term. This is the subtle lesson of 536. Resilience is rarely visible in real time. It often manifests through disruption, stress, and adaptation, leaving future generations to reconstruct narratives from incomplete evidence, wonder at human ingenuity, and marvel at the intricate interplay between environment, cognition, and society. Ultimately, the year 536 is more than a historical anomaly. It is a lens through which we can explore the fragility and strength of complex systems, the interplay between perception and reality, and the enduring adaptability of human societies. It reminds us that history is not merely a sequence of events, but a web of signals, interpretations, and feedback loops, each influencing the other in ways both predictable and mysterious. It is a testament to human resilience that civilizations endured, adapted, and, in many cases, emerged stronger, despite conditions that contemporary observers might have described as apocalyptic. By examining 536, we gain insight into our own cognitive architecture, our social networks, and the delicate balance that sustains human life in the face of uncertainty. As we close this exploration, consider the signals in your own life and society. How do we perceive, interpret, and respond to disruptions? What lessons lie hidden in moments of uncertainty or stress? History offers no simple answers, but it provides a framework to understand complexity, resilience, and adaptation. The year 536 may remain partially mysterious, but it also serves as a profound reminder that the interplay of environment, cognition, and social networks shapes not only survival but the trajectory of civilizations. Perhaps in understanding 536, we better understand ourselves, our limitations, and our extraordinary capacity to adapt. If this journey through time and mind has sparked your curiosity, leave a comment sharing your thoughts on how societies respond to stress. Give this video a like to support more explorations of hidden history, and subscribe to Past Lens to continue unraveling the mysteries that connect human experience, science, and the past.